Hey, it's Big Rick. Welcome to the Rock Talk Studio, where I find you that next great rock and roll book or documentary to check out. This is the podcast that reviews, previews, and most importantly, recommends to you the good stuff. Let's plug in and see what I've got for you this week. She was 18 years old, and she had 4 days of camera experience. And she snuck down from the balcony at a London concert to get her shot. The band she was taking pictures of were premiering songs from a new album, something called The Dark Side of the Moon. The result? A 50-year career photographing rock legends from Pink Floyd, Blondie, The Clash, The Ramones, The Pretenders, Joy Division, Leonard Cohen, Amy Winehouse to Clapton. But she's probably famous for her photos of one band, and that band is Oasis. And this new book, Oasis, Trying to Find the Way Out of Nowhere, this week's recommendation, features the amazing photographer Jill Furmanovsky and her pictures of Oasis with commentary from Noel Gallagher. This book actually begins with a foreword from Noel, and one of the first things he says is, "We love Jill from the moment she rolled up at the Corner Exchange in 1994. He also mentions that he doesn't know if Jill edits her photographs of him sympathetically before showing them to him, but he's never seen a bad one." Totally Noel Gallagher there. He also mentions, "I see something in these photographs that is real to me. Most of the time Jill worked with us, it's been kind of snapping away in dressing rooms and stuff, and that to me is real. She is a very, very dear friend of mine, and it's been an honor to have been associated with her for 30 years. And that's what this book is about. Furmanovsky has been documenting the phenomenon that is Oasis since 1994, all the way through 2009, and then their comeback in 2025. And that quote from Noel really summarizes this book. It's about a relationship between a photographer, a now very popular and famous photographer, telling her stories through pictures about this young band that exploded on the world. So after the foreword from Noel Gallagher, Furmanovsky contributes an introduction, and she talks about her life as a photographer. When she first met Oasis, she was actually putting together a photography book that started with a photograph that Jill took of Paul McCartney outside of his house when she was just a schoolgirl. And she said she was looking for a band that was up and coming, a band that had potential for greatness to end the book, but one that could also mark the beginning of something new. And it's pretty incredible that she happened to stumble on Oasis for the next chapter of her career. This is an oversized, predominantly picture type of book. It's 13 by 10, so it's quite large. It features 557 photos, color and black and white photos. There's a bunch from Furmanovsky's archives. The book also includes acclaimed and classic shots, along with candid shots, behind the scene images, and a bunch of them are actually published for the first time here. The book is divided into a chapter for each of Oasis's albums and also includes 3 expansive pieces by acclaimed author Simon Spence, publicist and writer Johnny Hopkins, and music columnist and novelist Laura Barton. The essays chart the early, mid, and then the later years of the band. Simon Spence is the first one to start out the conversation, tracing their upbringing. Then he gets into their influences, their rise, and their peak, which was around the Definitely Maybe album in 1994. And that's interesting. That was the #1 fastest selling debut album in UK history at the time. Spence's 2 pages here are a great leaping off point for the next batch of photos that come up. San Francisco, 1995, and then on through America. The pictures that follow start to show how they were starting to play bigger and bigger venues. Very candid shots. Great work here. One of my favorite picks in the book is at Glastonbury in 1995. It's a really cool shot of Liam looking out over the crowd, looking out over 80,000 people. The way the book is set up, it gives you a kind of back and forth narrative. The 3 narrators, and then Noel putting in his thoughts, and then Jill commenting on photos and shots and what was happening. It creates a dynamic back and forth that worked really well with the pictures because the pictures are just super professional and fantastic. They just leap off the page. There's so much depth and life to Furmanovsky's photos. And as you go on through the book, I was about maybe a quarter way through and I really got a sense of what a great photographer she really is. Though most of the quotes come from Noel, there is a Liam quote in the book, and it sits perfectly along with some great photographs of a show in Manchester in '96. A couple of favorite photos from this book. Noel was just walking out on stage with his hands outstretched, and the crowd is just frenetic. And Liam says, "Look at these shots. The pictures say to me that everybody who's in that stadium is with us. You know, heart and soul, and we haven't even played yet. Look at that, not even plugged in. Look at that reaction. I can wait 20 years for that and never get it." And that quote really affirms the growth of the band at that time. It's an incredible thing about this band that in 1994, they got a record deal. And then 1996, they were just huge. Furmanovsky has a 30-year working relationship with Oasis, and the pictures give you a sense of the dynamics between the two brothers. I like this quote. "These were not always easy shots to get," Furmanovsky writes. "Noel and Liam never stood together, and the only way to get both of them in one picture during a performance was to take a photo when one walked past the other." Furmanovsky had access most photographers only dream about. She says that Oasis permitted closeness, and that was a great gift to me. And it really shows here. Photos flow like a story. They pull you into the band's orbit, and paired with personal stories and key moments from their career, it's clear how much trust and connection existed between her and the band. This collection really puts you inside the world of Oasis. This week's recommendation, Oasis, Trying to Find a Way Out of Nowhere. I got a little bit more I want to share about this book, some really cool stuff, and that's coming up next. This episode is sponsored by Thames & Hudson, the publishing company who sent me over this book. Thames & Hudson has been putting out some really cool stuff this year. I reviewed Buzz Me In, Inside the Record Plant Studios, a book that they put out earlier. A couple weeks ago, the Iron Maiden collection, the 50-year retrospective, Infinite Dreams, and now this book. And what's cool about Thames & Hudson's partnership here is they're going to let me send one lucky winner a copy of this really great Oasis book. So how do you get a chance to win this book? There's a couple of different ways. One, send me an email at info@rocktalkstudio, and then I'll put you into the drawing. The other way is you can sign up for my newsletter, which comes out once a month. The newsletter is a resource guide for everything in the world of rock and roll books and documentaries. It's kind of an extension of what I do here. So you've got a ton of recommendations in there. You've got a ton of new released information. All the release dates are listed coming up for the next couple of months of every rock and roll book and documentary. So if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, all you've got to do is go to the show notes, a little link in there, just click it. Subscriptions are free. That gets you into every contest that I run. But if you want this Oasis book, go ahead and subscribe there. I'll put you into the drawing, and the drawing will be coming up in a couple of weeks for this great book, Trying to Find a Way Out of Nowhere. Coming up in next week's show, it's all alternative. It's probably the most alternative thing I've ever done on this show. It's an oral history that's not to be missed. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Love talking rock and roll with you, especially when I can talk about a band like Oasis. Probably a band that is staging one of the biggest reunion tours here in 2025. Go ahead and sign up for the newsletter to get a chance to win this new book. All right, let's tear it down, pack it up, and head on down the road. I'll see you next time in the Rock Talk studio.